So the Gemara says, V'hadisnan chabura sha'avad pischa. What? V'hadisnan chabura sha'avad pischa v'amru la'echad seyu bakish shcheit aleinu v'halachu matzav v'shachat v'hein lokchu v'shachatu im shaloi nishchat rishon hu eichel mishaloi v'heim eichlim v'sheisim imay minalan. Indeed, Allah the shlucha shaladam kemay. So the Gemara learns it with Rabbi Shua ben Karcha. Dam Rabbi Shua ben Karcha minayin sheshlucha shaladam kemay se shenemar v'shachtu eise kol kadas Yisrael ben arbayim. So, to start with, what's the question of the Gemara minalan? What's the question minalan? Wo steht das shlichus? What does it say in this Mishnah that was ma'ira the question minalan? That we see a psachidish in this Mishnah shlucha shaladam k'meisei, and that we ask on that minalan, we need a makkah. If you say that the minalan is based on the fact that this person is shechting and not the rest of the chabura, steht das l'cheirin asach mishnayis. That's not the chiddush of this Mishnah that only one of the bnei chabura is shechting for the whole chabura. It says in many mishnayis, like the Mefarshim asked. Not only that, it says l'chein in the psukim. Ish lefi v'lokachu shcheinei hakarev albeisei b'michsas nefashis. Says in the pasuk by Karban Pesach that they make a chavura, they make a group of people, and one of them shechts, obviously. Like we'll see soon, the way the Mefarshim are machriach at both the Pnei Yeshua and the Makna both ask. So where did the Gemara see in this Mishnah Chiddush that makes us ask the Minova? And then there's a question that both the Pnei Yeshua and the Hamakna ask, Ba'arichos, that if you say, for some reason we have a makir and a hechrich, that shchitas kachim needs shlichos and it only works because of shluchah shaladam k'meisai. So we see in the Gemara learns from a pasuk that akum neidrim v'nidavim v'neidvim ki Yisrael, that a guy is allowed to donate karbanis. Chayra, a guy is donating karbanis, a guy can't shecht. So if you say shchita only works midin shlichos, so how does a guy bring karbanis? And even lemaskanas hagemara, that shlucha shaladim k'maisai ain't shlichos lenachri. Like we learned from Atem, Gam Atem, l'Rabish, Ma'atem b'nei bris, af shluchachem b'nei bris. So later hanacha of the Gemara, that shchita only works, shchita's kachim works midin shlichos. So how does it fit with what the Gemara says that a guy could bring karbanis? And there's no shlichus, elamai, must be that you don't need shlichus for a carbon. Because you don't need the owner to bring it to be the one to shecht afka. Anyone could shecht a carbon. Then how does it fit with the Gemara that's learning from the Mishnah of Shchitas Karbanis that shluchah shaladam kibmeis? So the Pnei Yeshua and the Makna both go in a similar mahalach. They both say that be'emes, by shchitas kachim, so they say different possibilities, like we'll see in their hemshech of their shakla v'tarya. But they say, really, maybe shchitas kachim doesn't need a bailim. And therefore, a guy could bring a carbon. A guy can't shech, and he can't make a shliach, because ma'atem b'nei bris, av shluchachem b'nei bris. No, but after bailim nishachten, there's no din of bailim. So where did the Gemara see over here that you need shlichus? So shchitas, two possibilities. Either shchitas Pesach dafka needs bailim, because it says v'shachatu, I say. So by carbon Pesach you need bailim. Or the Pnei Yeshua has a possibility, even shchitas Pesach doesn't need bailim. In this Mishnah I see shchita, in this Mishnah I see shlichus, because in the Mishnah there was a chabrili, you don't need a bailim. So the Pnei Yeshua says, Asvara, since the carbon was oimed lekach, the carbon was meant to be shechted, so you know that's what the bailim wants. You don't need to be made into a shliach. You don't need a din shlichus. You could shecht it on his behalf without being his shliach. But by a chabura sha'avat pischa, where they bought their own carbon pesach, so you see they didn't want this person to shecht it on their behalf. Over here, if he shechted first and his works, it must be mitzat shluchah shel adam k'maisa. Hastas the Pnei Yeshua's hasbara is that we see here shluchah shel adam k'maisa is al derech what we said in the last Gemara, that dafka piches asara yehesef asara, where the shliach was mishana from the balabais, and still it works even though it was a gloi milsa that he was doing shalei kedas balabais. That could only be mitzad koyach of shlichus. So therefore, says the Pnei Yeshua, to be able to shech the carbon, and the carbon should work. On that, I don't need a din of shlichus. I could shech that on someone's behalf. But in this case of the Mishnah, where it wasn't on his behalf, and still it works, that must be because shluchah shel adam k'maisei. On that, the Gemara asks me, Nalam, where do you see shluchah shel adam k'maisei that I could get the koyach to do it for him? Which is meduyik in the Gemara, that the Gemara picks this Mishnah. And therefore the Gemara had to come on to Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. But Rashi and Tosfos seem to clearly learn not like that. Rashi says, Minalan de shluchah shel adam k'maisei l'shchitas kachim. Hatach Rashi, now you could argue on this Rashi, on this raya from Rashi, but the Pnei Yeshua himself says that his pshat in the Gemara is not like Rashi and Tosfos. Rashi seems to neman that you do need a bailim, and the only way that shchitas kachim works is because of shluchah shel adam k'maisei. So I want to discuss with you a little bit this question, because it's a question l'maisa that seems to be not clear. In bringing a carbon, does the bailim have to be the one to shecht, or could anyone shecht? This hanacha of minalan, to ask minalan, which means to come with hanacha, that in order for the carbon to work, the bailim had to shecht, and if someone else is shechting, it's working only with the shluchah shel adam k'maisei. That seems to naman that you have to have a bailim, seems to be not clear. Do you need a bailim to shecht the carbon, and someone else shechting the shluchah shel adam k'maisei or not? So Tosfos nemzan also that you need a bailim. Let's take a look in Tosfos nafkale. Tosfos says nafkale midei Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha v'mteimar amayla yolif the shlichus mahane bekatshim mishchitas parish alare. What did the Gemara have to learn from Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha? We should learn it from shchitas parish alare. Mid'itzrich loymar shahaya bebailim k'dichsiv v'shachat es par hachatas asher loy miklal de bishar katshim loy ba'inan bailim. So the limud that shluchei shel adam k'maisei says Tosfos I should learn from Gzeras HaKosov, from the fact that by Parei Shel Aring, the Parkei in Gadol says a pasuk that it has to be dafke de bailim. You see that by other karbanos you could do it even al yidei shliach. And Tosfos answers that that limud I would apply only to chatas, right? That's the Tosfos. Now this that Tosfos asks the question from Parei Shel Aring, like you maybe saw, it's not Tosfos asking misvara or making his own drasha from a pasuk. This is a drasha that says in the Gemara in Menachos, like we'll soon see. The Gemara in Menachos darshans from Parei Shel Aring that leibainam bailim. Mela Tosfos asks, so we have already a drasha from Parei Shel Aring that teaches us shluchei shel adam, that you could do shchitas kachim al yidei shliach. What do we have to have the pasuk from V'shachtu esikol kal das Yisrael? But when we're learning this Tosfos, let's just think for ourselves. We're learning this Tosfos, and Tosfos quotes a drasha that says that shchitas kachim doesn't need bailim. So look, doesn't that lead us to the opposite conclusion? If you say, Tosfos is saying we should learn from Parei Shel Aring that shluchei shel adam k'maisei by kachim. Fakir. If we see from Parei Shel Aring that kachim doesn't need bailim, that mendach nish k'shlichas. So you can't learn from that shluchei shel adam k'maisei, because you're learning from that there's no din bailim, so there's no need for shlichas. The need for shlichus starts with the hanacha, starts with the yisod, with the first step that the bailim has to do it, and therefore when he's doing it through someone else, it's only because shluchei shel adam k'maisei. But if there's no din bailim, daf midach nish ken k'maisei. So when Tosfos says that we're learning from Parei Shel Aring that loy ba'inam bailim, how does that go together with the fact that we're learning from Parei Shel Aring that shluchei shel adam k'maisei, that you need bailim, but that shlichus works? So let's take a look at the Gemara in Menachos, which is really the makir of this Tosfos. He's not Mitzayim. The Gemara is in Menachos daf Yotes Amud Aleph. The Gemara says, "Mikabala va'elach mitzvahs kahuna." You had it many times in Rashi, on Chumash, that shchita ksheira bizar, shchita by karbanis azar kadu. You don't need a kayin to do the shchita. From Kabbalah Sadam, that's when you need kayin. The Gemara says, how do we know this? It says, the Amar Kra v'samach v'shachat mas smicha bezarim av shchita bezarim. We learned that a shchitas ksheira bizar, that even a Yisrael who's not a kayin could do the shchita, because the pasuk makes a hekesh between smicha and shchita. Fragt the Gemara, I mas smicha bebailim av shchita bebailim. Maybe learn, just like smicha needs bailim, the owner has to do the smicha. Shchita has to also be bebailim. So the Gemara says, no, first it tries to learn a kal v'chomer, and it slugs up the kal v'chomer, and it says, how do you know shchita doesn't need bailim? Migali rachmana b'yom kippurim, it says by the par of Yom Kippur, v'shachat as par achatas asher loy. Asher loy is extra words that teaches me that he's shechting his own carbon, Aaron, the Kohen Gadol. Miklal the shchita ba'alma lei ba'inan bailim, teaches me that a regular shchita lei ba'inan bailim. L'cheira learned up the Gemara from Parei Shel Aring that shchita doesn't need bailim. If it doesn't need bailim, it doesn't need shlichus. There's no inyan of shluchei shel adam k'maisei v'almidaf nishken k'maisei, because the bailim doesn't have to do it. Remember, we said such a svara by Truma that if Truma doesn't require bailim, then there's no makim for shlichus. So how is Tosfos bringing this same drasha of Parei Shel Aring to learn that shchita by other karbanis, you say shlucha shaladim k'maisa. Elamai, al karchach the pshat and Tosfos is the way the pshat and the Gemara, the way Tosfos is learning in the Gemara is. When we say smicha bebailim, what does it mean that smicha has to be bebailim? There's two ways you could teach smicha bebailim. One way is the way we were teaching until now, that the din of smicha is something that's carried out by the Baal HaKarban. The Gemara is saying smicha bebailim. It's bebailim, says Rashi, v'loi ba'acher. When the Gemara says smicha bebailim, it's learning that by smicha, the owner can't appoint someone else. He can't appoint a shliach. We had in the beginning of the parak, there's a general rule that even though we say shlucha shaladim k'maisei, there's a number of exceptions. There's certain things that are mitzvah shebegufay. There are certain places where there's a gzeiras akasav that shlichus doesn't help. He has to do it himself. By smicha, when we say smicha is bebailim, we learn, what we're learning is that by smicha you can't make a shliach. Either the bailim does it or else it's nothing. It doesn't help. No one else's smicha could help. So when the Gemara darshans from Parish al Arin, that shchita ba'alma leiba inam bailim, to way Tosfos is learning pshat in the Gemara clearly, is not the pshat leiba inam bailim that there's no din of bailim. Leiba inam bailim, there's not this special chiddush and gzeiras akasov that you have to have dafka the bailim and it doesn't work with someone else. But avada, the din of shchita is bebailim, that it's the bailim's mitzvah. It's just that shchita leiba inam bailim that you could do shlichus. According to this, the limud by Paresh al Arein v'shachat as parachatas asher loi is not that the mitzvah of shchita is bebailim, that he has the mitzvah to shecht his carbon. Of course he has the mitzvah to shecht his carbon. It's Paresh al Arein, it's his mitzvah, it's not shaykh to anyone else. Adei dafin zagen leit Tosfos. The chiddush of v'shachat as parachatas asher loi is that this mitzvah of parkay and gadol of Yom Kippur is a mitzvah that is not possible to do aydei shlichus. The pshatim b'bailim is not that it's the bailim's mitzvah, it's that it's exclusively the bailim's mitzvah. It's a mitzvah that the bailim can't be yitzal yidei shliach. It's either he does it or it's lost. B'meila, when it says shchita is not b'bailim, it doesn't mean that there's no mitzvah on the bailim. It means that it's a mitzvah that the bailim could do ayidei shliach. So that's exactly what Tosfos said, that this limud that says that shchita ba'alma loy boy bailim, which is the lashon Gemara, means that by shchita ba'alma you say shlucha shaladim k'maisai. So what do you need the nafkalemi Rabbi Yeshua ben Korach? So that's the pshat in Tosfos, that shchita loy boy bailim means that it's not the same as smicha. Both of them be'etzem, be'ikram, in their yisaid, if they're a mitzvah that requires bailim. It's a mitzvah of the bailim. But smicha is a mitzvah of the bailim where the pasuk is mimayit acher. It's exclusively the bailim. He can't make a shliach. Shchita is a mitzvah of the bailim that a bailim could give it over to someone else. The mele you say shlucha shaladim k'maisa. From there, we should learn shlucha shaladim k'maisa, and Tosfos answers that's only by chat. So Tosfos, the way Tosfos learns in the Gemara in Menachos, shritas kachim needs bailim. The other way to understand the Gemara in Menachos, the way the Pnei Yeshua and the Hamakna are learning, is that it bechlal doesn't have a din of bailim. So we have two ways to learn by shritas kachim. For sure, you're able to do it al yidei shliach, shlucha shaladim k'maisei. Is there milchatchila a din of bailim, or there's bechlal no din of bailim? But what I showed you till now is how you're able to tight shine the Gemara, even the way Tosfos learns. Even though the Pashtus Lashon HaGemara is the way the Pnei Yeshua learned, and Tosfos is bringing this Gemara for Shlichus, you're able to tight shine the Gemara lay by Bailim that it's not a mitzvah shebegufa. Yeah. But which way is it? Is there a din of Bailim by Shar Kach? So the Pnei Yeshua and the Amakta both seem to bring a raya that there's no din Bailim by Shar Kachim, because otherwise, what are you going to say by Nachrim, by Akum that are Neidrim v'Neidrim? What are you going to say by a carbon of a guy where it's not possible to be Mekayim the din of Bailim because a guy can't make a shliach? But let's look a little deeper into this, the way the Achreinim point out. If I say there's a din of Bailim, there's two ways to understand the din of Bailim. If I say that the din is that the Bailim have to shecht, yeah, which we are saying, according to Tosfos is clearly learning like that. There's two ways to look at the din of Bailim. Is the din of Bailim a din in the carbon or a din in the Bailim? Now listen, think. Is the din of Bailim that the Torah makes rules, what makes a carbon kosher? For example, we just said Mikabala ve'elach mitzvahs kahuna. From Kabbalah Saddam, Hailacha Saddam, Zrika Saddam have to be done by a kayin. Those are all dinim in the carbon. If the Kabbalah and the Hailacha and the Zrika wasn't done by a kayin, then the carbon is puzzle. That invalidates the carbon. In order for the carbon to be kosher, so all the avodas have to be done properly. Properly is only when they're done by a kayin. Same thing you could say there's a din bailim by the shchita, that's a din in the carbon. For the carbon to be kosher, it has to be that the bailim did the shchita. Or the din bailim is a din in the bailim. The carbon could be done by anyone. The Bailim have a mitzvah to shech their own carbon. It's mitzvah the Bailim. It doesn't disqualify the carbon. Is this halacha of Bailim for the carbon, or is this chiyuv of Bailim for the Bailim? Clear the two ways? Well, we're comparing it to smicha. By smicha, there's a din of Bailim to the greatest extreme, that it's only b'Bailim and he can't even make a shliach. But the din of Bailim by smicha, is it a din in the carbon or a din in the Bailim? By smicha, for sure, it's a din in the Bailim. Because if a carbon doesn't have smicha, the carbon is still kosher. That means when we say there's a din of smicha b'Bailim, the Bailim have a mitzvah to do smicha on their carbon. That's part of their bringing a carbon. It's not that the carbon needs a smicha for the kashrus a carbon. So from comparing shchita to smicha, and not only that, the Pnei Yeshua and the Hamakna both brought Kilo, we're learning from the pasuk mas smicha bebailim av shchita bebailim. The svara to say by kachim that it's bebailim is because it says smicha, and that's what it says in other in the Torah. Tumima v'shachat goes on the bailim just like the samach goes on the bailim. Just like the smicha bebailim is a din in the bailim, so too the shchita bebailim is a din in the bailim. It's not the carbon needs, and the only difference is that the din in the bailim by smicha is a din where it has to be them, that they can't do it al yidei shliach. The din in the bailim by shchita, that helps shlichus. But the din in the chi of this requirement of bailim is a requirement for the bailim to be bringing his carbon properly. It's not a requirement of the carbon. So let me first show you in Pesachim, this time you saw the Sameach and other Achreinim are medayik this from Rashi in Pesachim. In Pesachim, the Gemara has a shaila about a bunch of brachas if you make it with a lamed or you make it with a al by bir chametz. So on Zayin Amud Beis, the Gemara says meisavei asher kitshanu mitzvesa v'tzivanu al hamila. Why do you make a bracha al hamila? L'cheiri you should make lamu. If you want to make levai or chametz, you should make lamu. So the Gemara says, heichi nema lamu leisagya de lavi yumal. You can't say lamu with a lamed because lamu is mashma. It's your chiyuv. You have to do the milah. Leisagya de lavi yumal. Yeah. Frag the Gemara via ben ma'ika l'meimar eina chanami. Frag the Gemara meisavei baruch asher kitshanu b'mitzvesa v'tzivanu al hashchita. You make a bracha al hashchita. Why not lishchet? So the Gemara says the same thing. Hasam nami heichanemi lishchet leisagi de lavi ushachet. You don't have to shach. So therefore you can't say with a lamed. Fragt the Gemara Pesach v'kadshe ma'ika l'meimar eina chanami. Sagt Rashi Pesach v'kadshim habaylim nitztavu d'chsiv v'samach yadei v'shachet. So first of all, Rashi says that by Pesach v'kadshim there's a chiyuv on the baylim. But Rashi defines that. What's this chiyuv on the baylim? It's not that the carbon needs to be shechted by the baylim. Habaylim nitztavu lishchay. There's a tzivay on the baylim that they should shecht. Oh, so it's not the pshat that the chiyuv shchita bebaylim is a requirement of the carbon. It's a requirement of the baylim. According to this, and we're going to come back to this Gemara in Pesachim in a minute. According to this, is faremfrit l'cheira the question, say mefarshim, is faremfrit the question of the Pnei Yeshua and the Amakna. The Pnei Yeshua and the Amakna both asked, what are you going to do by a carbon of a guy? If the only reason that shchita works al yidei acher is because shluchah shaladim kemaisa, and by a guy there's no shlichus ma'atem b'nei bris av shluchachem b'nei bris. So how could it be the din that akum meviim karbanis? How could a guy bring a carbon? If the din of shchita b'baylim would be a din in the carbon, then they have a very strong question. And the Pnei Yeshua, so you have to say either like the Pnei Yeshua says, that there's no din baylim, or like the Pnei Yeshua says that there is lo yafsher and you have to be mechalek between a carbon of a guy and a carbon of a yid. But if the din of baylim is a requirement of the baylim, so then the carbon doesn't require baylim. The baylim have a mitzvah to shacht. A guy doesn't have a mitzvah to shacht. He's not a bar mitzvah. Then get her up the ganze shaila. If the reason why we need the baylim to shecht and we have to come on to shluchei shaladim k'moisei, that it's as if the baylim shechted is not because otherwise there's a problem with the carbon, but otherwise the baylim didn't fulfill a certain mitzvah. So by a guy, he didn't fulfill the mitzvah, he doesn't have the mitzvah. Then their question from karbanis of akum doesn't begin. It's not a question to begin with. And this is very meduyuk in the lashon of Rashi. Comes out a few things. First of all, this is very meduyuk in the lashon Rashi by us. That Rashi says, in the question of the Gemara Minolon, Rashi made a big change, right? By Truma, Rashi said Minolon. What's the question Minolon by Truma? Minolon the shliach teirin. By Kachim, Rashi says Minolon. 4 Rashis later, Minolon the shlu 5 Rashis the shluchei shaladam k'moisei l'shchitas kachim. You see that there's a big difference in the wording of Rashi. He could have said both Minolons the same way. He could have said Minalan the Shliach Teirim, then the next Minalan is the Shliach Sheichet. Or he could have said Minalan the Shluch Shaladim K'meisei Linyan Truma, and Minalan the Shluch Shaladim K'meisei Linyan Kachim. Why does Rashi change? according to what we said before, we just said, and it's very meduyik to Rashi. By truma, you need shlichus for the truma. The din of bailim by truma is a din in the truma, that the bailim have to be mafresh. By truma, you need a koyach of afrashas truma. The koyach of afrashas truma is a koyach of the bailim. B'meila, the question minalan is, how do you know the shliach teiren? He needs the din of shlichus to give him a koyach to be teiren. If he's not a shliach, is nishkim bailim be kana machen a chaleis von truma. Mashen came by kachim. You don't need bailim. The question is not how could he shecht. The question is if the shliach is shlach is missing out on his mitzvah. Shabaylim nitztavu lishchet. How did the bailim get their mitzvah? I need the din of shlichus, not for the kashrus, not for the qualification of the carbon. Are kind of mitzvah even though they trusted someone else. Minalam the shluchei shaladim k'moisei l'shchitas kachim not sha'ashliach sheich. So this is very meduyik in Rashi. However, according to what we had in the earlier shir, so in the Ramban, the way we said according to the Ramban in Truma, Truma is the same as Kachim. We said according to the Ramban, by Truma you don't need the Bailim. The Raya was only from Piches Asara, Yosef Asara. Similar was according to the Pnei Yeshua. There's no din of Bailim. So according to the Ramban, they're both the same. By both of them, we need shlichus, just as is all very nechshav the mitzvah from the Bailim. Good, but Rashi doesn't have to learn like the Ramban. This diuk is in the lashon of Rashi. In Rashi, this is very meduyik. Now, so a few points in this. We said that the Pnei Yeshua and the Hamakna both learn that there's no din bailim b'chlal by kachim. And we said that's the simple mashmas of the Gemara in Menachos. That's the lashon Gemara. Taisvis is clearly not learning the Gemara like that. But the words of the Gemara is loy boy bailim. That's what the Gemara learns from Parishalan. So the Pnei Yeshua and the Hamakna want to learn like that Lefi Amos, not like Rashi and Taisvis. There's no din bailim. The whole shlichus is just. So I can ask a question on them from Rashi and Psachim that Rashi says beferish habaylim nitztavu lishchet that there's a din bailim, because they're saying clearly that it's not like Rashi their pshat, right? But the question is the Gemara. The Gemara says clearly in Psachim leisagi delavi ushachet bitmiya. But the Gemara says Pesach v'kat shemai kalameimar. There's no other way to teach the Gemara. That means the Gemara is saying by Pesach because it's takelei sagi de lavi ushachet. In the Gemara you have to teach. The Haggah and the Nedav says that Yeshua forgot the Rashi in Psachim. He didn't forget the Rashi in Psachim, because even if you would remember the Rashi in Psachim, he's saying anyways, his Pshat is not like Rashi in Kiddushin even. Azakta Chasanish bi Rashi. But the question is the Gemara. What's he going to do with the Gemara in Psachim? The Gemara says clearly, the Teichen, right? The Hamshech Hanyanim in the Gemara comes out that by Pesach v'Kachim, it's Taka Leisagi the Lavi Yushachit. The Bailim have to shach. So I saw there's a sefer Daf al Adaf on Pesachim. Over there he brings from Maginisa de Rab Meir, which is a sefer by Rab Meir Shapiro, that he brings from Sefer HaPardes LeRashi, which is a Pele. He brings from Rashi himself. But he says, a Kapanim he brings from Rishonim, that they say, the Gemara asked, Pesach v'Kachim, Ma'i Kalameimar, that there it's Taka Leisagi, the Lavi Yushachit, and the Gemara answers, Eino Chanami. Eino Chanami means that by Pesach v'Kachim, you Taka say Lishchit. The Nusach HaBracha is Lishchit. He says, no, brings from Rishonim. The Pshat is, Eino Chanami, that Pesach v'Kachim, you also don't have a mitzvah. I forget the Pshat. That the Gemara Taka answers that Pesach v'Kachim Eino Chanami, there's no mitzvah in the Bible. Which is exactly, according to that, the Gemara in Pesachim is mamish like the Pnei Yeshua and the Makner Bayas. Which is a nafkamina lahalacha. By me, a very big pella. I was trying to find that you guys have different, more time and more means, so maybe you could find this out. What's the maskana? It's a shayla lahalacha, not for us today, but someone shechts a carbon. What bracha does he make? Does he say with a lamed or does he say with a al? What's the maskana sagemara? Someone shechts kachim, does he say al shchitas kachim or does he say lishchitas kachim? Or maybe he mentions a specific carbon. I don't know. There's no ayin mishpat in that gemara over there in Pesachim Daf Zayin Lamed Beis. I tried to search in the Rambam. Doesn't seem like it's in the Rambam, unless I didn't search properly. Muzayna steht es halacha. It's pashta halacha. But every time someone brought a carbon, I found a nusach habracha for Kabbalas Adam. Asher ketshonim b'ktushas shalarin b'tzivanu ala Kabbalas Adam and Hilachas Adam and Shchitas Adam. For all of them, there was a karbanis. For sure, there was a carbon. That says clearly in the Gemara there was a bracha on the shchitas a carbon. But what was the bracha lefiamas halacha ala shchita or lishchit? So this is one thing. So in Rashi Akapanim is meduyik that it's a din in the Bailim again. In the Gemara, the way you learn the Gemara B'Pashta says clearly there's a halacha of Bailim. But if the halacha of Bailim is a din in the Bailim, then there's no question from Akum Geitar up to Raya for the Pnei Yeshua and the Amakim. The Lekach Taiv, Rabbi Yosef Engel, has the Shaila that we keep on having, 3 dargis and shlichas. There's shlichas that the Maisa is misyachas to the Mishaleach. There's the shlichas that the shliach becomes a yada richta for the Mishaleach, and shlichas that the shluchas shladem k'maisei mamish with all the nafkaminas from each of the fanim. There's nafkaminas. So in Eis Vav, Zak Rabbi Yosef Engel, a raya from our Gemara. Rabbi Shua ben Karcha says, "V'alayene sheichet ala echad ala mikan sheshluchas shladem k'maisei." V'hashta inema demaisa shliach misyacheses l'mishaleach. Imkein kishemishalchim rab nechshav sha'asu hamishalchim kulam hamaisahu. If I say it's considered the maisa of the top 2 ways, either that it's the maisa of the mishaleach or the gufa shliach is the gufa mishaleach, so then you have a problem that there's a gzeiras akasav tizbechu, that there can't be 2 people shechting a carbon. Over here you have a lot of people because this hand is an extension from a lot of people. Or this shliach gufa, the gufa shliach became the gufa of many mishalchim. So then the carbon should be puzzle because it's a lot of people. The Asr Lishnayim Lishchit Zevach Minatera. Zevach Echad B'Kachim. It must be that the Shchita is being done by the person who's shechting it, and the din of Shlichus is that his Maisa is Misyachis, it helps for a lot of other people. So then he's Deicha the Raya in two ways. Shnayim Shem Shalosh, right? I want to focus on his Raya first. First of all, the Raya itself depends on the Pnei Yeshua and the Hamakna. The Pnei Yeshua and the Hamakna both asked the same question on our Gemara. They said, say Shluchei Shaladim K'maisei, bring a Raya that Shluchei Shaladim K'maisei, says the Pnei Yeshua, because it says V'lokachu Shcheinei Akarev El Beisei, and there can't be two people shechting a Korban Pesach. Or says the Hamakna, because ain't shechten at the Pesach ala Yachid. There has to be at least two people or more in the Korban Pesach. And it says Tizbechu, that it's Mimayit, we pass a Korban that two people shechted. Or the Pnei Yeshua says maybe we don't pass it, he brings a stira between the Gemara and Yuma, Teisvus and Yuma and Teis. But Akapanim, it's also for two people to shecht. The only way to do it is Shluchei Shaladim K'meisa. Right? That's both the Pnei Yeshua and the Hamakna go with this. Why didn't the Gemara bring this Raya? Because there's always a Chabura. Pesach is always Nishchat B'Chabura. And it can't be that all of them are shechting. It could only be done through Shlichus. Says the Pnei Yeshua, I would answer you that a Korban Pesach, if not for Shluchei Shaladim K'maisei, I would say by Pesach they have to shecht b'sakin arucha midachsiv shachtu. Says by all karbanis you can't have two people shechting, but by Korban Pesach I would say it's a gzeiras hakasov. Since the pasuk says it's nishchat b'chabura, liktin di gzeiras hakasov. Part of that gzeiras hakasov is that they all shechted together because they have to shecht it together. Mashenkin Rabbi Shua ben Karacha says v'shachtu eisei kol kahal adas Yisrael bein arbayim. The whole Klal Yisrael, it's impossible to have a sakin arucha that all Yidden together are doing the Ma'aseh Shechita together. But otherwise, I wouldn't say Shechita. I would say that over here you could have a lot of people shechting together. According to the Pnei Yeshua, hast du nicht the kasha from Rabbi Yosef Engel? Rabbi Yosef Engel asked a question if shlichus is that the guf hashliach is like all the mishalchim, or his hand is a yod harichter from all the mishalchim, then it should be a psul of shnayim sheichtim. Like the Pnei Yeshua, just like I would say that, I could say that l'fi ha'emes. By Korban Pesach, there's no psul of many people shechting. The only reason that I see shlichus is because it's impossible for everyone l'payil mamish to shech. But the psul of Shnayim, just like there's not a psul by Shnayim, there's not a psul by Kol Kal Yisrael. So by Korban Pesach, there's no psul, hastu nishkin kasha, hastu nishkin raya. Mashenkin, according to the Hamakna said that the raya is, because by Pesach I would say there's no din bailim. The bailim don't have to shach, so therefore I don't have to come on to shlichus. And there's taka psul of two people shechting, but only one person, someone else could shecht for the person. Mashenkin by Pesach, where it says v'shachtu eisei kol kal adas Yisrael. What am I learning from this pasuk according to the Makna that there's a mitzvah to shecht? There's a mitzvah to shecht. Must be shlichus because two people can't shecht. So the Makna that says l'fi ha'emes that by Korban Pesach there's a psul of two people shechting has to have the raya from the Rabbi Yosef Engel. So then even with shlichus there's two people shechting. Unless you say that the shlichus is working, that it's the ma'aseh of the shliach that's misyachas to the mishaleach. Mashenkin, according to the Pnei Yeshua, just like you would have to say in your Havamina, that by Karm Pesach is a Gzeiras HaKasov, that there's no psul of two people shechting. You could say it even according to Rabbi Shua ben Karcha. He just was mar b'shlichus, but two people shechting is not a psul. Hast du nicht the kasha for Rabbi Yosef Engel? That's l'gebenegea tis kasha. But l'dvarav, and according to the makna that you do have the kasha of Rabbi Yosef Engel, and he wants to bring a raya that shlichus is, that the shlichus is the ma'isa shliach that's misyachas to the mishaleach and not the higher two efanim. So lepayel, he says two ways that you could be deicha deraya. But even if you're not deicha deraya, even if you accept the raya, now let me add you another possible you say that we'll see throughout the sugya if this will work or not. The derech of Rabbi Yosef Engel in all of his svarim is he has chakiras, he has 2, 3 efanim in a certain inyan, 4 efanim sometimes, and he brings rayas to all the efanim. Like over here by shlichus, each letter he brings a raya to one of the efanim in shlichus. But 1 second, so that means it's a big stira. You have, it can't be all the efanim. Which efan is it? So Rabbi Yosef Engel, his derech is, he gives us the Maramekemis, he gives us the Sugyas. Let's get klap the chalein cup and figure out how to for all the stiras or make up some mahalach. So he brings this raya, but there's many rayas to the other efanim in shlichus. So when is shlichus the highest efan? When is it the middle efan? When is it the lowest efan? L'dvarav, before his dechias, which are not necessarily the dechias, he says what you could be deicha, but you could say the raya. If we say that the shlichus over here is this eifin, that it's the ma'isa shliach that's misyachis, what could be a mahalach? Why over here is the shlichus working this way, and in other places the shlichus is the higher ways? According to what we said in the beginning, this could give us a key, and we have to see where it works and where it doesn't work, to what's going to determine which eifin of shlichus the shlichus is going to be. We said, why do you need shlichus by Kachim and by Pesach? There's 2 reasons b'chalalos why you should need shlichus. By Truma, according to some efanim, by Gerushin, for sure, you need the shlichus in order for the Maisa to work. The shlichus is because for me to give a get to this lady who's not my wife is only because the shlichus gives me the koyach. In order to take truma, if I need bailim by truma, if it's a din, I need shlichus. By a kachim, if I would say the din of bailim is a din mitzad the carbon, then I need shlichus mitzad the etzem shchitas a carbon. According to the way we said, where it's meduyik in Rashi and Pesachim, minalon sheshluchish ladim k'meisei, not minalon shashliach sheichet, haistas, that the din of shlichus is not for the maisa to work. The din of shlichus is just for the bailim to get the credit. In order for the mitzvah to be counted as the bailim's mitzvah, you have to say shluchish ladim k'meisei. But even if you didn't say shlichus, it would still be a valid shchita. It would still be a valid carbon. Then we could use this key and say the raya of Rabbi Yosef Engel to which eifin of shlichus, and say here nesanis it's tali habaha. When the shlichus is, because without the shlichus the maisa doesn't work. When the shlichus is, because for this truma to be a valid afrashas truma, for this gerushin to be a valid gerushin, that means be'etzem only the mishaleach could give a get. Only the mishaleach could be mafresh the truma because he's the bailim. So then the shlichus has to be, the din of shlichus has to kick in order for the maisa to work. So then you have to say one of the first two efanim. The shliach has to be the mishaleach as nishkana nishnem truma. It's not enough that his maisa helps for the mishaleach. That's good for the mishaleach, but that doesn't explain how the maisa works to begin with. So there we have to say one of the highest efanim. Either he's a gufa mishaleach or he's a yada richta. So that's why it comes out that the mishaleach is doing it, because this is something that only works when the mishaleach does it. Mashaking, where the shlichus is a shlichus, where you don't need shlichus for the ma'aseh to work. The din of shluchah shaladam k'maaseh is so that it should be the mishaleach's mitzvah. So there, the whole inyan of shlichus is only legabe that the ma'aseh is misyachas to the mishaleach. There, it's going to be the third eifin of shlichus. So even if we say this raya of Rabbi Yosef Engel, that we said is a raya only according to the Makna, not the Pnei Yeshua, but Ananiah. So if we say the raya, and we say the svara we said in the beginning of Shir, that the shlichus is over here mitzad the bailim, not mitzad the carbon, then it's beautiful. Then they go together because the shlichus is mitzad the bailim. Therefore, this shlichus is a shlichus that's only been again to being misyachas to the mishaleh. But again, like I said, that's a key. There's many different rayas, and you have to see. Anyways, you have to farem for later Rabbi Yosef Engel. There's a lot of rayas. Either you have to farem for each raya, or you have to find a mahalach why sometimes it's this tag of shlichus, sometimes it's that tag of shlichus, or sometimes he says it's a machlekes rishenim. B'meila, if this you have to see where this could farem for this eifin, that it depends what we need the shlichus for. Sei gesund, and we'll see you later.